Hello, Miss LaFoe.
Hello.
All right, so last week we met to plan for, well, no, not last week, before spring break, right? We met to plan for the lesson coming off of spring break. And we, just to reiterate, we were focusing on cause and effect. And we decided that we, in order to engage the students in the lesson, we would first, show a video that briefly discussed cause and effect, and then we would give the students an opportunity to create their own cause and effect in a little booklet.
Yes.
And then we would take it to the text where, each group, I know you have your kids read group at a time, and then they as students would then work together, right, to find cause and effect in relationships. So sort of like a gradual release model where we kind of explain what cause and effect is in chapter 1 together as a group with your direction. They can find cause and effect, and then in chapters 2 they can find it together as a group, kind of like a they do. So using the gradual release model. So now we're meeting today because I saw your wonderful lesson today, and we're going to discuss how you felt the lesson went and the artifacts as we analyze it to figure out if it was effective or not towards teaching cause and effect. So I want your overall impression of the lesson.
It was great. I have 2 different classes. The morning class, they're a little more advanced, and the PM class, they're a little, slower to understand the lessons. But overall, they did great, actually.
Did they kind of surprise you a little bit?
Yes. I actually enjoyed it. So with the morning class, we got some great illustrations, and then some great writing, actually, some great examples. But overall, both classes did great.
I know. I'm looking at this. It said, I have a dog, and I left the door open, which is a cause, and the effect, now the dog ran away, which I think is so cute because they got the dog in the cage on one side, and the cage door is open with the dog outside smiling, having a grand time.
Yes.
But I love this because obviously this kid understands that the cause is what happens first, and then the effect is what happens after. So I absolutely love that.
And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. The video was showing that the cause is the reason and the effect the result, and sometimes, I had a class before, they had a hard time understanding that. But after, you presented, explaining maybe to them, you suggested telling them first, the cause is first, and the effect is what happens second. They really got it like that, more easily. And it was great. They were coming up with ideas like, it was awesome.
Perfect. So that's what we want to do, is kind of go over the rubrics so that we can fully understand if this lesson, was a success, which I think that it was, right?
Yes.
So what essential knowledge was assessed by this assignment?
Okay, so the focus was to assess the cause and effect relationship, the correlation between cause and effect.
Okay.
Right.
And I think what I really liked also about the lesson that you did was not only did they have the opportunity to come up with their own scenarios, but I think doing that ahead of time first and then taking it to the text, it almost seemed easy for them. How do you feel?
Right. So doing those little booklets helped them understand the concept, because it was more practical for them to actually write the sentences and draw the pictures. And once they did that, after that, when they read the book, it was easy for them.
Perfect.
Yeah. Because it was more concrete. The fact that they had to imagine everything and come up with the idea, write it down, and draw the pictures. Then after that, when they read the story in the book, they were able to identify everything very quick.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So I would say, what core tasks or skills are assigned by the assignment? So I'd say the ultimate goal, what would you say was the ultimate goal or the core task?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So what core tasks or skills are assigned, or are assessed by the assignment?
the reading literature, and to identify the cause and effect relationship, like I said. You know.
And as they were reading, what did you have them do as they were reading to let you know that they had identified the cause and effect?
Underlying everything.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
good.
underlying.
Okay.
Then after, when they went back, they were able to, identify right away.
Quickly, perfect.
Yeah, very quickly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So what did you notice about the data that you collected in a combination of the authentic work that they had to create and also identifying and underlining in the text? What did the data help you understand about your two classes?
Basically that, like for the morning class, they were able to identify things, more easily because they stronger readers, but the PM class, because their reading is not so great, they had issues using their imagination to come up with ideas of what came before and what came after. So there's definitely a correlation between their reading ability and their ability to understanding the concept of cause and effect.
Interesting. Okay, so what did you wonder about the data? What did the data make you, I guess, ask yourself as you self-reflected on the data? What questions did you have for yourself?
I asked myself if whether or not we need to increase the opportunity for the student to come up with ideas related to the standard, if they need to, just give them more opportunity to come up with, those ideas.
I like that. Yeah. And it's so funny that you say that because, as a coach, I work with obviously all the grades, and believe it or not, I have 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders that have a difficult time generating ideas from either from their experiences or, from scratch. So I love that you said that, because the thought is if they can generate ideas from 1st grade and we continue that, as the text becomes more complex, hopefully they're generating the ideas, increases their cognitive thinking skills, which will hopefully help them to attack the text no matter how complex it is. So I love that you said that for sure. So as we looked at the data, what does that tell us about student learning and thinking?
So the engaging activity prepared them for sure to identify with, cause and effect in the text. So once they read the book, as I said, they were able to recognize right away. Once they underlined everything, there was a mental note, so they were able to do that.
And I think I remember you saying that because them generating the idea was a little bit harder, by the time they got to the text, it was almost
it was instant.
It was instant, right? So almost it was almost going from harder to a little bit easier, for them, which kind of lets us know if we maybe spend less time with test prep or everything, but allowing them to do the authentic work, that it's going to automatically transfer to reading a text and answer, because we kind of saw that a little bit here today. And as I was observing your lesson and observing the students, I observed that too, that by the time they got to the text, it was like easy breezy for them. Absolutely. All right, so in general, at what stage are your students in their understanding and competency with the knowledge or the skills of cause and effect? What would you say?
I will say that they're definitely on grade level or above. Most of them, especially my morning class, I will say they're above. Some of the example that they gave, was, I will say, complex. It was above their grade level.
Absolutely. I would agree with that too.
The afternoon, of course, like I said, they struggle a little bit, but the morning class, I'll say a lot of them were above.
Oh, absolutely. So what are the next steps for teaching this skill to your students? Do they need additional practice? Do they need opportunities or additional opportunities to deepen their understanding of cause and effect?
Yes, so the morning class, I think, like I said, they did great. So the afternoon would need, I would say, more practice, for one, and then maybe introducing different types of learning processes, like introduce maybe technology, allowing them to see cause and effect, like in a video, versus them writing, coming up with something in their imagination, or maybe having them do little skits. Somebody's running and then they almost fail,
I like
and things
that.
like that. So those are the kind of things that kids remember. Oh, I remember when I was in first grade, I did that.
So more body movement, I like that, because
Right.
there's definitely a lot of research that tells us, the more senses the kid uses,
Exactly.
it increases their chances of retaining whatever.
And then they
skills
have
he's
fun
taught.
doing it.
Correct.
They have a lot of
and
fun.
if they enjoy it, I
Right.
absolutely agree. I'm with you 100% on that. So for students at the beginning level of understanding, which would probably be your afternoon kids in this case, what reteaching needs to occur, and in what ways can the skill be broken down into smaller parts?
Okay, so what we could do is maybe give them the cause in the future, and then maybe wait for them to give us the effect.
Okay.
So that could be something different.
To help
for-
them build towards
Right.
Answering the question, and I think that's
Right.
a
The
great
morning
idea.
class, that would be a little more challenging. For them,
Right. And I think that's good, especially for your afternoon class, especially as the text becomes more difficult, and that could be in a support role for them to, at least if they understand, okay, this is the cause, now I can kind of have a starting point to get to the effect,
Right.
versus trying to find the cause and effect all on their own, which
Right.
requires more of a cognitive load. So I like that, and breaking it down, I would agree with that as well. All right, so for students on like your morning class, right, that have a high level of understanding, what extensions need to be provided for them? How can they be challenged to deepen their thinking and understanding of the knowledge, skills, and understanding?
Okay. So because they were reading as a group initially, maybe we could work toward them reading the next chapter independently, and then doing the work, recognizing cause and effect on their own.
Okay.
Yeah, more independent work.
Okay,
basically.
I agree. So definitely at that point of the gradual release, you have I do, where we showed the video, we did an example of scenario on our own. We definitely got to the we do in chapter 1, and then they do in chapter 2, where they work in
Right.
groups. So you could do the final step of the gradual release, which is the you do, completely on their own. And I would love to see that, to see if they can read the
Right.
chapter completely on their own and identify it by underlining, like as you stated, to see if they totally get the concept.
I think they can do it.
I think so too, especially your morning class. I have
Yes.
high hopes for them.
Yes.
Well, I want to say overall, I really enjoyed watching your lesson today. I enjoy watching the students engage in the lesson and walking around and reading their different cause and effect. I was
Yes.
definitely impressed with the things that they
Yes.
came up with, and I was definitely happy to see that once they read the text, that it seemed like we talked about, that them coming up with their own ideas, which is a little bit more have a higher cognitive load.
Mhm.
By the time they got to the text, it was easy breezy, which is what we really want,
Right.
So this is actually an activity, since it works so well with FIRST, I might use it with my other grade levels as well. So
Yes.
I appreciate you always allowing me to come in and work with you and plan with you. I think this lesson went really well. Yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for your input as well.
Absolutely.
I'm always open to your suggestions.